Hello everybody, good day to you and welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you guys are here. I know, I'm super glad to be here. This vehicle right here is a 2005 Ford F-150. It's the XL with the Triton. I think it's got the 4.6 in it. Curious thing about this is it's a lifted truck, but she's two-wheel drive. Look at that, no axles. That's a 4x2 all day. Anyway, a customer states that intermittently this engine has a knocking noise. Now, from what I understand, this engine has been replaced already with a remanufactured unit. I'm not sure who did it or who built the engine, but I understand that the customer had done an oil change not long ago and they found a bunch of metal on the magnetic drain plug. And again, he'd complained of an intermittent knocking noise. It's been to a couple other shops and nobody, or none of them have claimed to have heard or reproduced the noise. Starting the engine, well, I hear a squealing noise. I'm not hearing a knock just yet. Let's go down under the hood real fast and see if we can hear it come into play here. Pull the popper. Here we go. Let's see what we get in here. Yeah, that's a Triton, all right. Squeaking belt and everything. So the belt squeal is not our complaint. Our complaint again is a knocking noise, which I'm not hearing it from here. I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit and we'll see if we can recreate this engine knock. In the meantime, in order to attempt to narrow this down, I'm gonna hop into the ECM and we're gonna see if there's any trouble codes anywhere. I don't recall having seen the check engine light self-test when it came on. Let me turn this off real quick. So what we can do is we're gonna key this on and look at here. I see no check engine light. We're supposed to see that light illuminate upon key on, and that's the self-test. That lets the driver or the operator know that the check engine light is capable of functioning. So all those lights are supposed to self-test. This one did not do it. So let's see if there's any trouble codes in here hanging out. We can go from there. So the VIN tells me we got a 4.6 single overhead cam. It's a soak. And we're gonna go into the engine's ECM, or the ECM. We're gonna pull up codes here real quick, like. Memory codes. Do we have a camshaft code? Nope. Cruise, circuit, malfunction, OBD2 system checks incomplete. Man, these codes just got cleared. Hang on, let's go, let's see if we can see how many miles it's been driven since the code clear. That P1000 indicates that the OBD2 monitors have not yet been completed, meaning that since the last code clear, this truck has not been driven enough to complete all of the self-tests on all the systems. And that suggests to me that, again, it was recently cleared. It's unfortunate. So I'm trying to find the PID that suggests when the last code clear was. We've got a mil distance, malfunction indicator lamp distance, and scrolling over it says 0. So I don't know if that's telling me that it's been driven 0 miles with a code, or if it has not been driven, or if it's been 0 miles since the code clear. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back out, close the hood, take this thing for a ride, and we're gonna see if that mil distance number changed. If we have mil distance at 0 and then we drive and it starts to tick up as we drive, then we know that this code was just cleared as the vehicle is dropped off. And that would not be okay because I sort of need to know that information. I could be wrong, but that P1000 is definitely making me raise some eyebrows here as to what is the situation about. All right, riding along. Still no check engine light. Let's see, nothing on the scanner yet. She's still telling us 0. What's that? That's not cool. Check this out. The steering column is coming apart. I probably shouldn't be tugging on that. I'd love to pull the steering wheel off while driving. That would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, nothing on that PID over there. No mil distance on just yet. Okay. All right, watch this thing over the tracks here. Feels really, really loose and wobbly. That two-wheel drive suspension. All right, I don't think that this counter is going to begin counting I'm gonna go ahead and flip around over here at the Tropicana orange juice factory. We're gonna do a U-turn and go back to the shop. So that confirms to me that my customer did not turn off the check engine light. I must be reading that incorrectly. And you see, my concern is that this thing had like a P0325, or I think it's 326 is the other camshaft. But I had a concern that it had a camshaft correlation code. These engines had the camshaft phasers. That's the sprocket that's on the end of the cam that runs off the chain. Those are variable valve timing phasers. And on occasion, when they become faulty, they can make an intermittent knocking noise that often sounds like a rod knock or some kind of an engine knock. I was concerned that that could have been the case, but without that cam crank correlation code, I don't really think that that's the situation at hand. So we learned a little bit on this short test drive. Let's go back and listen for the noise and see if we can't figure something out here. Yeah, I hear a noise all right, but it's not a knocking noise, it's another type of noise. Yeah, all I got on this thing is that squealy noise down there and that tensioner. It's that one or the tensioner. Yeah, it's all I hear is noise and the accessory drive. If there is a knock, it's unfortunately powering down. If there is a knock on this engine, unfortunately the sound is hidden by that really loud squealy noise. Anyway, let's go ahead. I guess we're gonna check the oil. And if I don't see anything on the dipstick, well, maybe we can pull the filter off and cut it open and see if we can't find an issue with, what is that? Uh-oh, we've got some custom mods going here. That is a fuel line fitting. See that right there? But for some reason, it's not attached to anything. That thickens the plot a little bit. Okay. So it is at this point that we may conclude that there has been some kind of custom modifications around the engine on this. Okay. I just pulled that dipstick, and like what we talked about earlier, this oil is brand new. It's low. Yeah, see the level's right here, right in the middle. It's not really low, that's actually right on the money. I like to put them at the top of the cross hatches, but this one's in the middle. I see no metal on it. It's hard to diagnose with no evidence. All right, here, let's go ahead and run this thing up. Black subscribe button. The rack's already set up. I did that when you guys weren't looking. This thing's a little bit long, so we're gonna give it the good shake down here. And go up and down, making sure that the truck doesn't teeter off the lift arms forward and back, and we'll give it a good left and right while we're doing it. Just make sure it's nice and stable like. Yeah, we're all set here. Moving on up. Let's get her up in the air. I'm gonna take a look at what they had described as a rear main seal leak, and then we'll pull the filter and cut it open, looking for metal chunks. Okay, maximum altitude achieved. That's scary all the way up at the top. Down on the locks for some safety. Click. All right. Now we may proceed down below. Okay, rear main seal leak. Rear main seal leak. Rear main, rear main, rear main. Yeah, there's some oil up there. A little bit right there. I don't know if that's the rear main though. My guy told me he got the oil pan off of this once upon a time. Yeah, look at right there. Okay, yeah, this is definitely a reman engine. See that little button right there? Let me get some light in it. Right behind that motor mount bracket, there's that little button. See that right there? Now that button is heat activated. So if you overheat this engine, that glue will melt, the button will fall off, and then your warranty claim is potentially denied. So I'm also looking up at where that fuel line goes. I believe that the fuel rail on this engine is a returnless fuel system, but the system itself is set up for a return. Look, there's 2 fuel filters on it too. Look at that. Or maybe they just ran a new line and a new fuel filter, or like a new system or whatever, and they left the old one there. I've never seen one with 2 fuel filters. Look at that. Dual filtration elements. This truck is continuing to confuse me. Lift kit. Definitely a lift kit. Oh yeah, it's a big old honking lift kit. Look at that. Okay. Okay, I've got the oil drain rolled in. Now, you guys see this little scoop looking business here where you would think that is going to allow the oil to drain from once you take the filter loose. If you thought that, you would think wrong, because it actually drains from this location right here. I've done it myself plenty of times where I put my oil drain over here, pulled the filter, and then it dumps out on the rear. So if you're working on a Ford, make sure your oil drain is past the front subframe crossmember. Oh man, this filter's on there. I reached behind, turned it a couple times already, and I still can't get the thing to spin loose here. I know it's a little dark down here, folks. Sorry about that. My flashing light has died, so now we are operating without the luxury of supplementary lumens. Okay, filter spinning free. Hey, look at that, brand new oil coming out of there. Still see the gold color. I don't know what I'm gonna find in here. Hey, splashing. Yeah, it's a Mobile 1 filter. Dump that out. Let's take this over to the vise and cut her open and see what's inside. Yeah, we're gonna try this a different way than what I had done last time. Last time I was spinning the filter and holding the tool stationary. This time I'm gonna hold the filter stationary. We're gonna spin the tool. Little blade on it right there. It's adjustable. Camera gravity. It's adjustable with the little threaded rod in the handle. Then we've got 2 roller bearings here. So what we do is we set this up on the filter, dig the blade in, and then rotate the cutting tool, and that will cut the filter in half. And then we can pull it apart and see what's inside. Scanning. Tighten it. Scanning again. Tighten it. And we're cutting a nice clean hole right through the side. Yeah, this way is easier. Thank you to the individuals who told me I was doing it wrong. I told you guys, I got this nasty habit of doing things the hardest way possible. That's just what I do. Don't know why. I see no metal. That's in there good. Fry driver. Let's tear this guy open. Hey, Laura? Yes. Lauren's hunting down the replacement filter. Can I have another one of those? Thank you, darling. And thank you for making your mandatory video appearance. Say hi. Hi. Yeah. We grab one more out of there. Yes. I'm going to sacrifice this one for the sake of science while we're here. I got a Mobile 1 filter that came out. Let's chop open this brand new Wix filter and see how they compare, you know, while we're here, because scientific purposes and whatnot. I can't get this to come out. Oh, I'm ruining it so bad. I want to preserve the pleats, not destroy them. Come out. Here it comes. There we go, there we go, there we go. Again, we're looking for metal in here. That's gonna be the prize. Metallic particles. Okay, so taking a coffee cup here and a little paper towel. What I'm going to do is take what's left of the oil in the filter and pour that through and try to filter out what's in here, just to see if there's any bits of sparkly left over inside of this unit. I don't know, man. Let's just pour that through and let it drain out. Now over here, that's the filter element itself. Again, I'm not seeing much in the way of any metal inside of these pleats here. It's just It's not here. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, let's get in a little closer. See if we can't see what we're trying to see. Throw some more light on the subject. You guys see any metal in there? Anything? I'm not seeing it. There's a little speck of something there, but that does not look metallic. That's where I damaged it. Yeah, this filter's clean, you guys. There's no debris inside of this unit. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm gonna cut open this filter real fast before we put a new one on. I just want to see how the wicks is going to stack up to the mobile one. I usually don't do this kind of thing, but I'm curious for the sake of science. I'd hate to knock that over. Ooh, crackly. Okay, so we saw externally the dimensions were nearly identical. We've got a spring device in here to keep some pressure on the cartridge, a similar spring on the other unit. There's a drain back valve installed in the wicks. There's a drain back device and valve installed in the mobile one. Now this is the spin-on section, and just by feel, this one weighs a little bit more. There's more metal in this base plate threaded unit than there is on the wicks filter. Gauge thickness on the steel for the housing appears to be about the same, but I think what really matters is our filter element here. And we can see the wicks has a little bit more filter exposed. I'm not sure if that's significant or not. And I think that there are more pleats, slightly more pleats on the wicks filter, or on the Mobile One filter rather than the wicks filter. Let me speed this up real fast, and I'm gonna count them, and we'll see which one has more or less pleats. Okay, pretty close. I had 52 pleats on the wicks filter, 56 pleats on the Mobile One. So it appears, and kind of based off my guesstimations here, this Mobile One filter is a slightly higher quality than the wicks filter. Now we know, I'm not saying one's good or one's bad. They're both extremely good filters, but this one seems to have a little bit more filtering capability, and it's built to a more robust standard than the wicks filter. There is a huge price difference here. I think this one costs like twice the price of that one, and as with most things, you get what you pay for. Okay, now let's take a look at this oil coming through the napkin here. Please pay no mind to the little black specks in there. That's stuff from the filter from when I cut it open. But I do kind of think I see a couple metal particles in there. That's funny, I saw medical particles. Yeah, let's find a good way to view this here. Having a hard time getting this right here, I know. We'll use the cup, but we'll get rid of the oil. So I don't see anything floating in the actual oil. There's no residue. Normally if you found metal in there, you'd see it sticking to the side. There appears to be some, but it's not a lot. Yeah, I see a couple little shiny specks. Yeah, there's one. There's a little speck right there. Focus, please. Yeah, very, very small amount of debris. There's even like a little chunk of something red and something blue. See that right there? There is some debris in this thing, but I don't see enough here to cause an engine knock. Very odd. All right, so let's think about this objectively here. We've got a truck with a replacement or remanufactured engine. The customer states that they have found metal in it, and they have found metal in the filter. They brought it here. I've got no codes, no knocking noise, but they claimed of a knocking noise. The engine oil has just been replaced, so any evidence of metal is literally gone at this point. And I need to figure out where those little slivers of metal came from. But the problem is this engine has warranty from a third party or from an aftermarket engine manufacturer, because it was a reman. There's a slight leak at the rear main seal area by the pan, but my customer also had the pan down. So I'm really struggling with, number one, trying to prove or disprove the fact that there is metal. And I know I saw some little slivers there, and it looked like there was a little bit of sparkly in the oil before it, or as it was draining through that little filter, the paper towel filter. But that's not enough to submit any kind of claim to a warranty company when I don't have solid evidence. Moreover, I did see that there is some metal there, but I need to speculate on where it came from. I'm not going to say it's a crank bearing or a rod bearing, because a failing rod bearing would absolutely annihilate itself. I don't know how old this engine is, so perhaps we just have a break-in wear issue, because I did see some very fine particles of, you know, like I said, metal in that oil right there, but you know, no chunks as if something was coming apart. And if it's knocking, something's going to be coming apart. So what I'm thinking is that we do not have, like I said, a rotating mass bearing problem. We don't have crankshaft bearings, we don't have connecting rod bearings going out. This thing does not have cam bearings. I know that because the cam journals are machined right into the cylinder head, so there's no cam bearings. I wonder if maybe we have a thrust problem with the crankshaft, and perhaps that crankshaft is walking back and forth, tearing up the thrust bearing. So what I'm trying to do here is see if I can't move this crank backwards slightly and see if it's going to move outside of spec. And we got a little bit out of it. That right there, what I'm doing is I'm prying on this flex plate right here, which is what the torque converter in the trans bolts to. That's also what the crankshaft bolts to. And if I can get this thing to walk back and forth more than it should be, that's going to tell me it's got bad thrust bearings on the crank. Let me give it another tug. Yeah, we got a little bit of motion out of it. Not a lot. Let's try to go back to the front again. Hang on, let me go look up spec and all that and see if there's a specification for crankshaft in play. All right, I've got this truck pulled up in all data. Maximum crankshaft in play. We've got 75 thousandths to 3.77. No, that's in millimeters. Hang on. 30 thousandths to 14 thousandths. That is the maximum amount of play in inches. 30 thousandths to 14 thousandths. I'm sorry, 3 thousandths to 14 thousandths, not 30. 3 thousandths, that's 3 thousandths of an inch. So yeah, in play is small. We actually might be out of spec. I'm gonna try to get a dial indicator on this, and we're gonna see if this crankshaft is walking forward and backward too far. That's gonna explain a lot if we are out of spec on our crankshaft in play measurement. Alrighty, so I've got a dial indicator apparatus connected here. I do realize this is connected to the frame and not the engine. That's not ideal, but I could not get this little setup here to work out with that vice grip connected to the engine. But if we take a close look, we can see we've got us nearly calibrated to 0 on our scale right there. See that? Push that back on 0. So I've pushed the crank all the way forward. What I'm going to do is go up front to the pulley. We're going to pry on it and push the crankshaft back. If this needle goes beyond that 14 thousandths, then that tells me that in play is out of spec and we have an issue with the main crankshaft bearings or maybe even the crankshaft itself. I'm not sure what they did to remanufacture this or rebuild it, but it may be out of spec. So I'm going to set you guys up right here. We're going to go up front. I'm going to pry on that crank and we're going to see what the in play measures out to be. Okay, pry bar. I need a piece of wood to pry off of. I need wood! Where's my wood? I got wood. It's pointy. That'll work. Watch that gauge. Did it move?
A little bit, yes.
That's all it needed, just a little bit. Alright, let's see what we get in here. Going forward again. That's a lot of motion. Here, let's recalibrate it. Back to 0. And then towards the rear. That's, what do we get, 10 thousandths out of that one? 12 thousandths? Yeah. It's negative 3 thousandths right there. Yeah, I'm gonna call this about 10 thousandths of an inch of in-play. Okay. Yeah, so that one's kind of a dead end, unfortunately. We didn't get excessive crankshaft in-play out of it. I thought that was kind of gonna be our smoking gun. Ow! I pinched my finger on that stupid thing. You believe that? Ow! Okay, so I guess it's decision-making time. I do not think that I have enough here to submit a claim to the manufacturer of this engine to get them to let me tear it down. I got a little bit of oil in there, or a little bit of metal in the oil, very little. This thing may still be in break-in time. I mean, the bolts are fresh and brand new. Gaskets all look brand new. I don't think I've got enough here to really work with on this type of a claim. So unfortunately, I'm either gonna have to probably fix that noise and then see if I can't listen for the knock. Because if I can call the warranty people and say, hey guys, I hear this thing knocking, you know, can I tear it down? Can I pull the pan off? Do you want me to pull bearings out? Do you want me to inspect it? Do you put an engine in it? What do you want to do? But I can't do that without any evidence. You know, a couple little slivers of aluminum and a crankshaft that's in spec. I've got nothing that I can do. This is a no problem found, unable to recreate the customer's concern. These are the worst ones too, because you spend time and people want answers and you can't give them answers because it's just not here. Truck coming down. Yeah, anything else that I can check for is going to be internal. I can't measure anything else on this engine other than what we just mentioned or measured. So unfortunately, guys, at this point I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and call this one quits for the time being. I'm gonna go ahead and back this out and park it and let my guy know that I was not able to recreate his concern, and without being able to recreate and document the concern, we just cannot move forward. So this is officially my first ever no problem found, unable to service vehicle. It's kind of feels like an L, that's for sure. I mean, I know it's not, because this kind of things happen. And I believe the guy, I believe my customer, that he does hear something. I think before we do anything with tearing engines out of this, I need to fix that knocking noise. That way we can run the engine. It needs to be driven some, so I can see if we get a check engine light that comes on. Maybe we'll get some kind of a code for cam crank correlation, because like I said earlier in the video, oftentimes the camshaft phasers on the front of these things can get stuck and lock up, and it'll the VVT will like to command camshaft actuation and the cam won't move, and then the sensors will pick up on that and say, hey, your cam and your crank are not in sync together. Here's the code, we have a problem. And 99% of the time you got to replace the phasers on this unit. So I believe that's probably the most likely cause here, but without that trouble code in there to give me that cam crank correlation, again, I'm peg-legged on this. I've got no evidence to do anything with, because we have a clean slate. You know, we have fresh oil, we have no codes, drive cycles are incomplete. I've got nothing at this time other than that little bitty bit of oil leak. But again, my customer stated to me that he took that oil leak, or took the pan down to look for the bearings or check on some things, look for metal or whatever. And even that kind of disqualifies my ability to go and submit a warranty claim for an oil drippage. So at this point, we got to go back to the drawing board. Unfortunately, guys, that's not going to happen today. We've got some clerical work and some phone calls to make. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video out on this Ford F-150. Let me know what you think about this situation. Have anybody in the field ever run into something similar to this? It doesn't have to be a bad engine or a warranty issue, but how many times have you guys out there been trying to diagnose a customer's complaint and you could not recreate the conditions? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do not forget to tap that like button while you're down there. And most importantly, before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to wish every single person here a fantastic day. See you guys later. End of Ford, end of non-repair, non-diag, end of day, end of transmission, end of video. Hey, let's see if glass cleaner will make this squeaky belt shut up. Yes. Glass cleaner will make a squeaky belt shut up. The look on your face. Don't, no, back up, I'll glass cleaner you, back up, that's spousal abuse. Dave's like, you guys serious? I gotta clean that up now. What's wrong with you people?
Don't slip.
Oh yeah, don't slip, slipping hazard, dangerous, hazardous working environment.